Hello, this is another Q&A of mine for my little Q&A series I've got going on at the moment. This is actually one Q only. I had such a lot to say on the matter that I decided to make it its own video. David's Cafe have asked, can you please do a blooper video? No, this isn't a blooper video, don't get excited. But they have commented before that my videos cannot be this flawless, surely. Well, yeah, well, I suppose my videos are, but my life is not flawless by any means. So I thought I would tell you all the things that I cut out of my vlogs and all the things that I don't film in my vlogs in the first place. It's a lot. Now, believe it or not, I do a lot of false starts. When I start vlogging, especially first thing in the morning, I might say something and I think, do you know what, I had a lot of gaps between my words. I paused to think about what to say next. Maybe I didn't have a very high energy level and I think, oh, I'll do it again. Sometimes I maybe do 2 or 3 takes of that just to get myself going in the morning, and throughout the day, quite often I might think, oh, do you know, I sounded really uninspiring there. Everyone's going to be nodding off, so I think, right, I'll do it again. Right, come on, Emma, snap up a bit. You know, maybe drink some water, liven up a bit, and then have another go. So I do that all the time, just, I presume, like they do on the telly. I don't know, I haven't really worked on the telly, really, much. I have a bit, but we won't go into that. I mix my words up a lot. I don't know if it's a dyslexic thing. I might say backwards instead of forwards. I might say loft instead of cellar. Like, I had to think about which way round that was. I get opposite-itis and I say the completely opposite thing, and quite often I don't even notice that I've done it until I come to edit it, and then I'll just put a little word on the screen to put the correct one. And I've noticed lots of YouTubers do it, and I've noticed that lots of people do it because I've become tuned into it. But if I do notice it, I will redo it. So that's another thing that gets cut out of my vlog. Like that. Right, okay, that's something I will cut out of my vlog, going, what was it again? Yeah, so I do a lot of this while I'm thinking about what to say next, but I chop it out because I'm just trying to make them succinct, and yeah, I've done it again. There we are. That's exactly the sort of thing I cut out. I'm going to leave that one in though so you can see exactly the sort of things that I cut out. If the lighting is rubbish and I realise that the lighting is rubbish when I've just done the shot, I will redo that shot. So that's another flawless eradication. I'm trying to anyway. If the camera was a bit wonky and I notice, when I'm editing, I can stretch it out a bit and straighten it out a bit, but quite often I'll just redo the shot. I might retake a shot if I started it out thinking there's going to be nobody in the background and somebody walks in the shot. I might just redo it so they're not there, because it's a pain in the backside blurring them out. And I know I don't have to blur them out legally, but I choose to. Position myself that people aren't in the shot, or like if I'm filming forwards and everybody's back is to me, I'm like, yes, film now, quick, and then somebody usually looks around and I'm like, oh, I've got to blur it out. Something else I might chop out is if somebody is talking audibly, unexpectedly, and especially if they give away private information. I've kind of quit filming in the pharmacy because I have to keep re-editing the audio because they just call out names all the time and you hear people checking their addresses and things, so yeah, that. Right, here's something you probably don't think about. I quite often redo my action shots. You know, like I might set up a tripod. This is on a tripod now. I've got my lighting, I've got my tripod set up, and I think, right, I'm gonna put my mug down on the counter. That's one shot. Boom. And I might do it maybe not assertively enough or not decisively enough. It might be a bit dithery. I'm thinking rhythm all the time when I'm editing, you see. Maybe I've got a sequence here. Cut goes down on the work surface, kettle clicks on, cupboard door opens. This is a really typical thing. Now I want it all in rhythm. Doom, 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 doom. And I've got a time signature on my head when I'm cutting it all together, all that sort of thing. I know nobody probably noticed, but I do. So if I've put it down and it's maybe it's gone instead of do it. Like if I want a do it and I've got a do it, I will redo it. This is what I'm like. I am that weird. Likewise with the cupboard, if I don't know, caught on something and it didn't open smoothly enough, I will redo it until I've got that. And you know, drawer opening, maybe if I caught it. Sometimes if it's funny, I leave it in because I think it's funny, or I put it at the end as a blooper. So occasionally I do get bloopers at the end of the video, occasionally, but normally nothing funny happens. It's just all this stuff I'm talking about now that I chop out because it's not actually that interesting in the first place, so it's not entertaining. So when I'm making my videos, basically I try to think in sentences, either speaking sentences or visual sentences, in that something does something, like a verb and a noun, you know, like a cup going down on the work surface, for example. So once that has happened, that's the end of that sentence or subclause or whatever. So I'm on to the next shot with a different angle. Usually, if I've got enough time to do it, sometimes I'm rushing and I can't do it. So I cut a lot out because I'm cutting out anything superfluous that's not part of that subclause or that sentence, if you know what I mean. That one thing happens to something. Sometimes my shots are just establishing shots, like I'm just showing the location briefly. So I trim them right down to maybe 2 to 4 seconds because I'm trying to not bore people with it being too long. Just enough to say, we're here, this is what it looks like, right, boom, on to the next shot. So there's a lot cut out. I'm again, see? usually chop that out. I go on too long about things and then I cut it down. I think, really? Do people really want to know that much information about your whatever it was you were talking about? Really? Especially if it's to do with things that I know people are not all interested in. Because I look at the retention graphs for all my videos and I know that certain topics are much more of interest to people than others. Big surges come with food, shopping, cooking. I don't know why, but these always, they have like these huge surges of retention. More people are watching those bits. If I talk about my music work, about 5% of people skip or abandon for music, and exactly the same thing for language learning as well, because not everybody's interested in it. And I'm acutely aware because I look at every single retention graph for every single video I've ever made, and that's about 1,300. So I'm the expert. So I can see the retention graph as I'm filming my videos. And so if I am talking for too long about my music notation or something like that, I'm like, just stop. And I'll say to the camera, right, just cut that out because they're not interested. You know, and stuff like that. So I talk to myself on camera. I talk to editing me, say, right, just cut that out because nobody wants to know in that much depth about how to use MuseScore 3 free notation software, etc., that sort of thing. Also, another thing that I cut out is diversions from the plot. It's mad being a daily vlogger because you start to think about your day being almost like a written story, even though it's happening in real time and it's happening completely spontaneously. When you come to edit it, you start to think about the main plots, and sometimes things happen that if you were a writer you would cut them out because they're a bit of a diversion and a dead end from the main plot, so I'll often chop those out. I can't think of any examples at the moment. Oh, I know an example. I might say to the camera, quite often I do leave these in, it's not the best example, okay, but I might say, oh, me and my boyfriend are going out for a walk now. And then we're not going out for a walk because his plans have changed. Sometimes I'll just cut out that I've said it. You know, that's the sort of dead end that I would cut out retrospectively. I'm getting a hoarse throat now. I've been talking for so long. This is mad. Also, I might film something and then decide later that it doesn't have any value to the viewer. It's just not inspiring. It's not relevant to the plot. Doesn't teach you anything new. So I might chop it out. Or I might just think I was talking nonsense. Another big thing that I chop out, I might rattle on about and then cut, is oversharing. Things that are coming up for me and my daughter, for example, is a good example of things that I might overshare. I might say, oh, I've got such and such coming up next week, and I think, oh no, I don't want to say that because I might be giving away my location, you know, or clues to our location. And I also overshare sometimes and then cut it out because I think I'm going to get judged. You don't need to be a very big YouTuber to have horrible, nasty comments coming in late at night that have a nasty go at you just as you're going to bed. I've literally had to make a cut-off now. I've got a cut-off time. I will not look at comments after that time before bed because it only takes one to keep you awake for hours and hours. And you get a real nasty one. There's ways to come to terms with it in a way, like you think, well, you know, their opinion is different to mine or whatever, you know. But at the end of the day, another human being has intentionally wanted to hurt you, and that hurts, doesn't it? It's like having a slap around the face. So it's not nice. So certain things I know offend people. I don't even want to list them because I'll set off ranting in the comments and personal attacks on me. The things I'm just not even going to say. I'm not going to say. It's just personal choices that, like, you can't please everybody. What one person will agree with, another person might vehemently disagree with. So, stuff like that. Moaning about my daughter. Sometimes I get really frustrated, as all parents do. Shoes just on the floor, cups everywhere, 8 drink containers with different amounts of drink in the bedroom, like I just want to vent, as all parents do. It's just normal teenager behaviour. It is. But you do not want to diss your child on social media because they're going to be an adult looking for a job one day. It's their business, it's their private stuff, but that's like just stuff like that, the little nitty gritty things, the little nitty annoyances that you get as a parent when your kids don't do what you ask them to do. So that is, I do quite often have a moan and then think, oh no, I can't leave that in. Swear words. Not usually mine, usually somebody else's. If I'm in point of view mode, looking forward, not selfie mode, it's very easy to just re-edit, like separate the audio out from the video, take out the swear word, close it. Nobody knows it was ever there. I don't have to beep it. Sometimes I might beep it for comedic effect. Like there's been so little of it on my channel, honestly. There was one occasion I went for a walk with IP and he was getting attacked by flies or something. And he wasn't even saying a very bad swear word, but I thought it was hilarious to put lots of beeps in, so I did. I've got a confession, there was one swear word of mine that I edited out. It was when I face planted in the sand in Portugal. I shall say that in an English accent so you can understand what I mean. In Portugal I had a little incident with a big wave. Ended up sort of partially in the sea with my hand up like that with my camera, and with the sea rushing up the back of my legs, face down. Yeah, I might have uttered a little expletive on that occasion, but I confess I cut that out. Oh dear. This is another thing I cut out. Cleaning the lens. I think it's cute when people clean the lens in their vlogs. I think it feels real and just makes you feel like there's no barrier between you and them. But whenever I clean my lens in my videos, I look at that retention graph, poof, people abandon the video. I don't know why, but it always happens every single time. Oh, the other day, like I was filming in IB's garden the other day and there was a fly or something on the lens and I flipped it off and I thought, I'll leave that in. And I watched it, I thought, I think it looks fine, honestly. I think it looks really natural, fine, leave it in. But I thought, I can't, because I know people will abandon the video at that point, a percentage of people. I will cut out sections with bad wind noise and just not use it altogether unless they're absolutely necessary to the plot of my day. So it's like that retrospective storytelling again. So I do that a lot. The other day I left it in and I put captions on the screen because I thought it was essential. I decided it was worth leaving in. Likewise, if footage is so shaky that I can't fix it with stabilization, I will leave it out rather than keep it in, unless I think it's really, really, really essential. If it was literally just this is what the scenery looks like and it's like, and I cannot fix it. Sometimes warp stabilization in the editing works, other times it just like goes it makes the world look, I don't know, really funny, like, I don't know, like it's entering some kind of weird sci-fi dimension or something and everything goes all weird. So yeah, I lose a lot of those. Puke-inducing swerves, if I accidentally film them and just chop them out because I don't think it's pleasant to watch. Now I am on to the last sort of section of this now, which is things that I don't film altogether. Most of my life, if you think about it, because an average vlog is what, 13 minutes long. So for all of the rest of the day, I'm not filming myself. Vloggers have this thing of being told off for not doing things, and you hear it over and over said on people's vlogs. Just because you didn't see me doing it doesn't mean it didn't happen. You haven't seen me going to the loo, have you? Or sleeping, but it doesn't mean I don't do it. There's lots of other things I also do but don't film, just because I don't think they're that interesting, to be honest. Or it just hasn't occurred to me to film it yet. I do not film dithering about deciding on things. Or if I do, I film it by accident, but I intentionally, like for example, I do a lot of vlogs in supermarkets, don't I? I quite often get told off for not doing things in supermarkets. You know, I don't want to film myself umming and ahhing about what to buy. I decide what to buy, and then I film my hand grabbing it most decisively because I've already decided I might have checked the sell-by date, I might have had a quick look at the condition it's in, and then boom, grab, put it in. Because at the end of the day, I'm making something to entertain you, not bore you to death. So you don't see shaky footage of me distracted by reading lists of ingredients. I only film the bits I intend to use. Sometimes I don't film everything I buy in supermarkets because there's a big crowd of people around there, usually the reduced to clear section. So if I'm saying, oh, this is what I just got from reduced to clear, it's because there were so many people there, I didn't want to be a nuisance to them by butting in with my camera. I don't film my local area, that is a privacy thing. It grieves me because I want to share everything with you, I really do. But it's just one of those things you've got to sacrifice as a vlogger, it's just not safe to do it. And that's it. for my list. There's probably a million more things that I could think about, but those are the things. So this is why my videos look flawless, but my life is not flawless. It is completely edited. So that's kind of the answer to the question. I mean, the question was originally, will you do a blooper video? But basically, I've kind of said what all the bloopers are. It's nothing that funny. It would be really boring, I think, to be honest, all those things. So the reason I've cut them out is because they're not funny. And if they are funny, I leave them in, or I put them at the end of the video as a little blooper reel at the end of the video. If I ever do get enough, I will make a video out of it, I promise. I had a folder set up on my desktop for ages to put all the funnies in. Nothing went in. There was just nothing funny. So that's the answer to that. So thank you very much to David's Cafe for inspiring this entire sit down, well, stand up, chatty video. If this is your first time to my channel, I normally make daily vlogs. I'm just doing a little mini series of Q&As at the moment. But if you did enjoy the video and would like to watch more videos from me, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below to watch more videos from me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!